Our vision is more obstructed by what we think we know than by our lack of knowledge. It's not the knowledge you absorb, it's the knowledge you apply. Knowledge is power, information is liberating, and education is the premise of progress. Innovation needs preparation, and the preparation our inquisitive minds got in the first session will assist us to create future. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. After the engaging sessions in the first half of the day, I, Divya,
I, Shrishti,
welcome you back to Communiqué 18, the flagship event of SITM.
we take this opportunity to acknowledge our sponsors and supporting organizations whose continual support and conviction in us has been an overwhelming factor for the success of Communiqué 18.
Trading partner, Dalal Street.
Beverage partner, Natural Aqua Private Limited.
Gifting partner, The Soul Store.
Merchandise partner, Sukhi Atma.
Apparel partner, Aryavar.
Green Initiative partner, Treasure Gifting.
Refreshment partner, Maharaja Vada.
Wardrobe partner, 925.
Youth partner, Campus Times Pune.
Snacks partner, STK Foods.
Fashion partner, United Colors of Benetton.
Stationery partner, Classmate.
Banking partner, Union Bank of India.
Other partner, McDonald's.
I would like to remind our audience that the entire seminar is being webcast live on estv.in/Communiqué 2018.
Moving towards the first keynote session of the afternoon, I now invite Mr. Rupinder Goel on stage. Mr. Goel is a global digital technology leader with over 25 plus years of experience in IT and telecommunications for transformation of B2B and B2C. Presently the Transition Global CTIO, helping startups and advisor to several companies. Mr. Goel was the global CIO for Tata Communications Limited across all lines of business encompassing voice, network, growth ventures, and all other allied lines of business. His work area covers evolving companies' information technology and assets into a more flexible and creative digital platform that will greatly accelerate how we use IT as a competitive differentiator and generating revenue going forward. Sir is leading digital transformation at Tata Communications by driving adoption of cloud, mobility, big data, social and automation using IoT and M2M. Welcome to Communiqué 18, sir. Honored to have you with us. May I request you to please begin with the session, sir?
Yeah. First of all, very good afternoon. It's really a tough task after the good lunch. I heard you have so many partners. I see the big names, McDonald's, Subways, and whatnot. I think you have been fed well. So it's very proud to be in this campus. It's very beautiful. It's very hard to see the greenery now in the big cities, and a really wonderful location where innovation, innovative minds, or sparks can happen for the right kind of brain sitting here. You can learn and create tomorrow's future for the world. So really pleased to see you all. It's my first time. I did spend around 5 years in Pune, but unfortunately not been this part of the Pune. I was more closer to the airport. So I have seen your Viman Nagar campus, but not this one. So really pleased. And thank you for inviting me. It's really a pleasure. So one of the major revolutions we are seeing, or we have seen already, is the digital. Everybody talks about digital. To me, digital is not new. It existed long back, 0 and 1. I'm much older from all of you, so I have seen several phases of digitization. So when we started, when I was in the college like you, having an email account was a luxury. Having your own website or doing some of the things online or doing a Lotus Note same time session or something else was really seen as a cool. And everybody said this is the future of the world. But did we stop there? Not really. Yesterday I was attending another session and somebody brought a point about Darwinism. And the challenge was, HR community was there and they were challenging and they were struggling, and the question was, evolution is happening. And technological evolution is happening with a much higher speed than one can catch up to. So how does these communities in finance or HR or other organizations keep up to the speed, to the pace, to make sure they are up to current or the latest and greatest, and make their business competitive to be the differentiator in the market? That was the question. And I personally believe the evolution, Darwin, what he has put in together, will always exist and will be there. There is no matter. Only difference is the curve we have seen, how the Darwin has drawn, or the time it has taken to go from one place to another in terms of the evolution of the organisms or people or processes. Now the curve has shortened. The S curve has shortened. The technology digitally, what's bringing in. So I worked in aviation as well. So it used to take 7 to 8 years to design an aircraft engine. Those days are gone. Today it's only a few months. So the information sharing, the digital revolution, what has brought in is really the shrunken the curve. That's a major differentiation, the speed. So if you talk about the digital, and I come from telecom industry background, I worked in Africa as well. It was an amazing experience for me when I went to Africa. Some of the countries, if you look at their economy, whatever they are doing is directly proportional to the telecom penetration or the growth. Directly proportional. So if the telecom or your 2G, 3G or the fiber or whatnot has been penetrated well, the economies were doing well. So in the digital highway or the super highway is the critical. We are sitting in this beautiful campus, beautiful place, and think about it, if we do not have that communication, we will be restricted in this particular island and we will not see the world with us. So telecommunication is a major revolution behind digital, and it's happening more and more. We have seen in our own country how the Geo and other people have been disruptive and what they have done. One of the points when we talk about digital and technology, I mean, it's good to be tech savvy, but it's about time in digital, the boundaries are blurred, the business boundaries are blurred. If you are a domain expert in human resources or finance or anywhere else, you need to be tech savvy at the same time. So you cannot be the tech savvy sitting in a boardroom or sitting into your own domain or a data center or some kind of application development team or somewhere else. You need to have the acumen for the business knowledge as well. So the boundaries have dissolved. So that's very critical. So when we go out of these schools or institutes, and that's what the Symbiosis, based on some interaction with some of the students, came to know, versus what I see in the market today or some of the institutes which have been enterprises for some time, there are boundaries. I think in future, those boundaries need to be dissolved. What we do in digital, what we do technically has to be really consumed real time to enable the business and to make it happen. That's the key. So we should start thinking about new titles, not the human resource title or finance, maybe like, as I've seen the gig here. So that should be the new titles coming along. And you may need to design a new org structure. Org structure has to be flattened more and more. So hierarchies have to go. And there's be more knowledge sharing and analytics or data available to you. So one of the trends I see happening more and more, especially with the blockchain, what we have seen in India now, RBI started recognizing some of the cryptocurrencies or whatnot. I think the blockchain brings a very good future where the transparency, where the accountability, where the linking or the knowledge sharing or where the authenticity all can bring in together. The blockchain is really future, and how it's being implemented across in every business. It's not for only for the currencies or certain scenarios, it will be in every part of business slowly. And we will see more applications. The digital tools were coming up, IoT next. IoT is a very big name, everybody talks about it. And one correction there to make sure somebody announced, I have quit Tata Com a couple of months back and I'm working on my own now. So just officially I tell you. So Tata Com launched IoT LoRa, and they are doing as innovative product and services and integration of the whole tool. Technology is fine, the solutions are fine. You can take and white label the technology. You can deploy different protocols, different things. It could be public, could be private, whatnot. You can do all that. But the critical part is the solutioning. How is going to deploy? How is going to be used? How is it to be monetized? That's where the gap comes in. So we have technologies, we deploy technologies, we do R&D on innovation on new things. A lot of startups, a lot of people suffer because of monetization to take it forward, to make it really valuable, to deliver a value to the customer, value to the business is critical. That's where the challenge is. So IoT is the future. As we see more and more, all our B2C, B2B life will be changing with IoT, mainly the data collection and all, and the real-time computing, the decision making happening right on the spot versus going to the cloud and coming back is no more the time. So essence is the time. Because if you're driving a car, let's assume you're passing a red light and something happens, somebody immediately changes. If you take that data and information and process it to the cloud and come back for a decision, I think it's kind of too late. So some of the processing has to happen real time in the devices or the nearby LAN or WAN or the communication media or solutioning. So that's the critical. So these are two trends really something critical. If you look at analytics, people talk about analytics and algorithm, that's the future. And one of the key things I personally believe, it has to go further and further. What does that mean? Like example, we all do learn about marketing, price, competition, portfolio, pricing, whatnot. And we always do analysis, algorithms, competitive analysis, portfolios, products, and do the baskets. And we offer certain discounts. Why can't we offer customers, create your own discount? Think about it. Digital brings transparency. When you and me, if we go for shopping on online or something else, we have options available to us. I can go to 3-4 different products. If I'm buying air conditioner or even a burger or anything else, I can choose from A, B, C, and I can click them and I can compare, and all the data and facts can be in front of me. The price, the whatnot, and the contents or whatever it is. It's transparent. It's available to all of you. Especially as the generation's growing up, you guys, new millennials and more, you will be totally dependent and you will be very educated customers or consumers for these products and services. So think about it. How do you build the trust? If I remember in the old days, I lived in US for some time, and Walmart, amazing experience for me. It's no more experience to anybody. It's very common to you. Where they brought in the transparency, they brought in cost plus. So they used always say every day is a low price. And if the price changes, there was a transparency, there's a trust built in. So if you're bringing the price down, if the product is going from $10 to $9, they want to keep their X% of margin, let's say 20%, and they will decrease the value of that product. And on the label, it will say everyday low value and the price is reduced. So the trust, transparency, that's what the digital can bring in with the speed. So think about it. One of the scenarios, can you allow the customers build that trust, that relationship? They can calculate their own discount. Be transparent, your business model known to you. Will that create something stickiness? Like, very different way of working. Everybody will like to be very fair business person or a consumer. They will not like to take you out of the business and taking all your pros and cons. I personally believe that's a game changer. These kind of analytics or solutions, thinking out of the box and thinking out of somewhere not as a regular to be differentiator. In digital, if you look at Microsoft as an example, Satya Nadella came in, and it's a very shock to me. I work in IT industry, where he cannibalized his own business. His main business was selling this license on the physical devices and tying in and making the revenue and generating revenue. Where he is the first one who cannibalized, he opened his shop to the Apple and other people, and also went with the cloud. He allowed 5 copies to be run simultaneously. If you take a Microsoft license today, you can use it 5 times. Enterprise license can be deployed at home as well. So digital also bring in cannibalism. And cannibalism is not must. So what's your task as when you're deploying these technologies or you're doing your business models? Make sure you reevaluate, redo your models every day. Every day means as often as possible. Do not let somebody else come in the backyard and eat your lunch without even you know that. With the digital, the entries of barriers are gone. We don't need the large manufacturing sites. We don't need the huge brick and mortar stores. We don't need the distribution centers. This can all be done with few clicks, with the Amazon or something else. You can use their warehouse. You can open his website or anything else, and you can reach to the world within no time. The barrier of entry or the speed is there. So the velocity is key. If you are not cautious of looking at yourself and challenging yourself, am I right there or something else? Someone else will wake up and give you that challenge. Before that happens, it might be too late for your business to survive, or your technology will become obsolete. So that's a major challenge in lifetime. To make sure in the digital world, we all need to challenge ourselves. We need to look at how to cannibalize our own world, our own product, our own services, our own portfolios, how to create the niche, how to increase the pie of the different services, and not to restrict to that laser focus. You could be successful today, and you have been successful in that product or that business model with that technology. But problem is, how long? In the older days, you can take the benefit for the longer time, but that's once again the curve has shrunk. The curve has become smaller. The S curve has changed. So somebody else, or if you don't do it yourself, somebody else will do it to you. It's one of the very, very critical points in digital world we all forget. Like if we are not looking at ourselves first, then looking at competition. I think competition is there for sure, you need to look at it, but you compete to yourself first to make it +1. That's where the true winning factor will come in. Digital is the key for differentiation. I have seen a lot of companies, you must have seen as well, the logos as well. So if there is let's take mobile, if there is a program launched by XYZ company for $199 for 1 month, giving you free 10 gig of data or whatnot, and some other companies who have been in the business for a longer time, they see that challenger, and overnight or in 3 weeks, they go and analyze and all, they launch blindly 180 rupees or 189 rupees plan to protect their turf. What are they doing, honestly? Think about it. Digital is key, where you can count your revenue. The digital people say, what's the digital business model? A lot of consulting companies, Big 4, Big 5s and all, and they talk about it. If I talk to any of the brick and mortar company, I have stores, I have opened a website, I have a portal, I have a WhatsApp app running, or I have a SMS running or whatnot, and people can go and click on this and can buy digitally and all. Is it true digital? Digital is a differentiation, is disruptive model where you're not going with the flow, you're making something different. And what's the revenue coming from that stream? That's critical. And what's the cost to do that business? So if somebody is doing some model, some competition is doing something else, so it's not blindly just copy and carry on. That will not be truly sustainable going forward. Because tomorrow that competition or that person will go and drop by another 10 rupees or something, you're always catching your tail. And your cost structure, their cost structure when they did the package or that solutioning or something, they have calculated well, and your cost structure may not be aligned to same. Because they may have a technology advantage or digitally aligned or something better done, and your cost structure may not be there. Because you are an older business or you have been running in that scenario, and you cannot change overnight your cost structure. So differentiation is very critical. You need to differentiate. You need to be unique. You need to disrupt. You need to disrupt yourself. You need to disrupt industry. You need to disrupt across and go bigger picture than looking into a laser focus. Some people talk about digital. Is India digital today? Or if you compare US or Western countries, are they digital? So there's no true definition how to measure digital. So when I spent my time in Africa, it was eye-opening experience. There was a revolution, well I call it telecommunication revolution. People went straight, they did not have the fiber, they did not have the copper, they did not have the landlines. When the mobile came in, they directly went to 2G, 3G, 2 or 3G. So mobile really became the means of telecommunication. The generation who were coming in at that time, they did not saw a black phone or a wire hanging phone attached to them. So there was a jump start, or there was a leap taken in front in telecommunication there. And that also brought in a lot of innovations, the mobile money or the VAS or other services. In some of the countries, mobile money, all the school fees, all the labor amounts, all the stuff was paid, complete banking was done on mobile money. That revolution came in that country because the need of the hour was there, versus the Western world where the banking structure or things were well done or ATMs are available across. So there was a different game changer. So that's where the digital really brought in a new economy or a new business model or new way. And it doesn't need to be traditional to take the several steps to go to the final step. The digital can take you, or the new trends or technology can take you directly there. So think about it. Do I need to follow the 7 steps, what I learned, or 3 steps or 4 steps, or can I avoid this? One of the things in business we talk about it. When you want to do digital, think about moment of truth, the zero touch model. If you're in HR, if you're in finance, if you're using any technologies, as you are doing a transformation, you want to go digital, think about it. Elimination first. What can I can eliminate? Can I go zero touch? Where we can do start to end something where the human touch is not required. Customer himself or herself can go directly and transparently can retrieve or do the data or execute it. If you still have the touch in between, several points, that's not truly digital still. You need to get away. The decision power or the things happening right on the spot has to be there. So a lot of processes I speak because then people hide behind compliance, people hide about regulatories, people hide about several items. I think as you going up in the industry tomorrow, you need to challenge. These regulations, compliances and all are all made by us people. They're not coming from anywhere like a rain. So these barriers had to be broken. One of the latest and most talked idea in the market is the digital security, which brings in a lot of challenges. I tie back security to the culture. Any organization, if you have that right culture, right mindset, if you are going digital, security should not be the after effect. It should be proactive. It should be done with the product or services or the business models, and it should be refined over time as the evolution happens. But it should be not the after effect. And in several organizations I work for, there are three kinds of audits. Internal audit, then there is some other audit by the group company, then there's an audit by the third parties. And the reports are produced report over report. And then there are security audits or that test, penetration test, this, that, and all, continues. But nobody's thinking how to do proactively. So this becomes a matter of elimination, and self-audits or self-things can happen, and there is no need, and only the incremental or the delta work can be done by these people, not the end-to-end checkup or the checklists anymore. So security is very critical, especially when we go digital, when we are talking zero touch, when we are talking a zero movement of truth, when we are taking decision-making real time. So no doubt, security is a trend which will be going more and more and very critical to all of us. The critical. I slightly differ on the concept of clones. I personally believe our society and all, we should have liberty. We should live in digital world where the cloning should be allowed. But there's a big if. When you start digital, when you start technology, the bigger word comes in, the security and all these things going on, ethics. Today's world, when we become digital managers, when we become business managers, when we become entrepreneur, are we tying in ethics digitally as well? Doing genomes, doing this farming with all these, what we see, food and what not happening. I mean, we can feed the whole world. We can address the hunger and several other good things. So it's a good thing to have. But for profits or for the wrongdoing things or the side effects, are you taking care of the right things as well? Are you balancing the ecosystem? Are you looking at the complete ecosystem in terms of the insects, evolution, or what you're doing to the earth, environment, trees, or whatnot? That balancing act has to be there. So I personally believe the ethics is very critical. So one of the trends in my mind with this digital, more and more with the speed and velocity, how we are doing, the new models are coming up, security there, IoT there, we are talking about blockchains and few more other things coming up. I think ethics is must. We need to tie with every step, every item, ethics. If the ethics are not tied to the right processes, the right technology, the right business models, we will not have the right outcomes. That's where the challenge or the differentiation will come in. You don't want to be challenged. You don't want to do something wrong. You can have short-term profits. You can have short-term gains. You can have short-term growth. But what's your long-term strategy? How to sustain it? So I personally believe that digital brings a new question on the table of ethics. And when we go from these institutes to go in the market and become the business managers, I think that when we are doing these things, it has to be proactively built in. It has to be done right, irrespective of gains or the boardroom or the results or your shareholder value or the stock. That's very, very critical. So digital disruption will bring challenges, but it does not mean we let go of our ethics or security, what need to be built as a going forward in the community or the product or society to address it along. It's very critical. One of the questions comes to my mind when somebody said, what's a trend, what's happening in future? I personally believe digital is already here. This is the third revolution, people say. The previous revolution in the cars, we all talked about the Ford, how they did like the people car. Everybody has a car today and become a common man device or a tool. Same way digital is already here. It's not something is going to further evolve, it will change, so does everything else and all. But my question to all of you is, what's next? If somebody is not embraced with digital, if somebody not with their, any business, any model and all, I think it's, in my mind, it's kind of too late. There's a book by Friedman, Thank You Being Late. I think you will all agree with me. Digital is not a myth. Digital is not a topic to be talked in the room or a boardroom or a business to adopt or to learn. For sure, we need to learn, we need to grow and all, but it's part of our life. Sitting in this room, who can live without email or a messenger or a WhatsApp or any social media or so many other tools, or when you communicate, what media, what tools, or what you do. Even a person sitting in the room next to you, a few desks away, you don't say hi, hello, you send a message. Very common. So digital is part of life. Digital is live. For sure, it will evolve. It will have several versions and growth and all. But the question on the table is, what's the next bigger revolution? So if the people thought processes, they want to be innovative, they want to think out of the box, I think it's about time. We need to think about what's already there is there, what's next? So that's a new trend. Not thinking about 1 or 2 year, 5 year ahead. Think about 20 years or 15 or 10 years ahead. Because the curves are shrinking again. Once again, I'm telling you, the S curve is shrinking. So even digital, when we're already there, we moved on. I think the next step is, what's next on the table? Will you see the clone sitting beside you in the room? Will you see robots doing the roles some need to do? I personally believe yes, and they should. There's some movies, articles, and several things, white papers, and some reality there, where the employee codes have been issued for the robots working in the factories as well, and the benefits or their structure or how they work and behave should be recognized as well, and which makes sense. There are certain jobs, there are certain things which is very inhuman. I have seen in steel factories how 400 degrees centigrade or plus degree temperatures, how the people are sitting in front and they are putting in coal or the steel and making it happen or bend it or move it. I personally believe the humans doesn't need to have those jobs. It does not mean that digital or technology will remove the jobs or will remove or everybody will be unemployed. But for sure in the value chain, things need to move up. Once again, the dinosaurs in evolution. If we don't move, we don't change, we will be dinosaurs. I think we need to involve, we need to adopt, we need to innovate and take as a next ladder, next challenge or next thing to grow to. And we cannot be there where we are. Very sad story, Kodak. They saw digital, they were the first one to bring in some of the digital cameras and whatnot, but they did not move with the time. One of my colleagues in my MBA classes, and he was from digital, an executive, and he said, I'm talking like several years ago, still remember that dialogue in one of the evenings, like one of the B schools like you. And he said, forget Rupinder, no way, you don't know. All the digital, like, whatever it bring in, the chips and access and all, forget it. People need the negatives. People need the film. People need that little albums on their desk. People will need x-rays. The doctors will not trust. They will not look at these photospectry or printouts or something. Forget it. This is just a myth. We will go and people who are bringing in a lot of things come and they die. So does the old IBM story. They were the one who came with the PCs, but they never saw every user, everybody at every home will have a PC. So what does that message brings in? When we do these technologies, when we do these challenges, we do disruptions, I think testing the markets, having the trust, having the belief, taking it further should not be stopped in our minds. So any technology, irrespective of robots or clones or what we are doing, or IoTs or our blockchains, several solutions, I think need to take it to the next level and next level. Make it incremental. Let's not stop it there. If we need to be cannibalized to take it to the next version, next thing, let's be there. One of the things also digital brings in and challenges in the technological world, a lot of enterprises where you walk in, there are solutions and things are done, and still there's a digital team working in parallel to build on top. I think when you go back to these offices or the enterprises, you need to take a different challenge. And once again, let's remove the duplication. Let's take the bold plunge and some of the processes, older ways of things, let's stop them and make sure the new processes or new things, what they're done, they should be done. The digital also bring in a new thing in the market, So we were looking at a lot of businesses do business processes, then they convert to the digital processes or an automated processes. I personally believe those days are gone. Things should be agile, should be done right the business process, or something has to integrate it with the technology together in the bytes and bytes and rolled out and implemented and tweaked if need to be. So there's a common word, BPaaS, business processes as a service. So any technology, any solutioning, any product you are doing should be as a service, should be consumed right there. If it cannot be consumed, and one of the good habits, a lot of companies I've seen myself, they have designed several digital products, several different things, but when you talk about it, do you believe in it? Have you implemented it? Are you using yourself? An answer is pretty weak, because we have 20 years ago implemented some of the process, we don't do it ourselves. So I think we should non-invented syndrome should be gone, and we should use first ourselves, and not somebody else invented something else, or we invented long back and we don't want to utilize it now. Those days are gone. 3D printing, we have seen it, has been executed, and more in future. My relatives, some of them are doctors, and there are a lot of organs or like a lot of joints and whatnot is still a mystery. But I think in future, with the new processes coming up that can be printed with the right material, or so does the spare parts. So as I happen to be, like I worked in an aviation company long back in the US, and we were distributing aircraft parts and engine parts. And I remember a word, AOG, aircraft on ground. In the older days, 40 years ago, if you have a trouble in aircraft engine and some critical component is broken, that aircraft will be grounded for minimum 24 to 48 hours, because the part used to fly from one location in US or Europe back to Asia or some other country where it needed to be. But in today's world, I think going forward, why couldn't be printed right there with the designs coming in, or can be flown in, and very quickly the aircraft or the latest and greatest version of that part can be there. And when the particular part was shipped in, then there was we used to call it a step to be compliant back or forward. Different versions or different changes have come in, and the part come in the XYZ version. Now it has to be plus 2 or 3 versions. Then the modification or changes has to be brought in to align it to the right configuration of that aircraft or that environment or that region. So I think those changes and all with the digital real time, that will be reality in the world. We all see what we wear, all these clothes, whatnot, and they will be digitally enabled, and that's a future. And I don't think it's too far. It's soon enough we will see that more and more. All integrated and all our analytical data will be available to us. The numbers are really mind-boggling how the data has been produced, how the digitally analytical algorithms are changing the world, and that's where the beauty is. More and more data we produce, it will be machine to machine, which will cause a major challenge. The data or timing we produce versus machine will produce when the IoT will interact on something, that will be humongous. And that's where the really finding the needle in the haystack is the name of the game. It's really the elimination, it's really the exception process. In digital world, when we went to the apps or we all use and all, in the older days when we were ERP shops, we used to look at a screen, and then employee record will show me employee name, address, all the details, and just need to know one particular field, but still the whole screen will be filled with me. But today in the digital world, it's managed by exception. You need to only present what you need to know, what you need to make a decision on, what you need to make an action on. You don't need to know everything else. If you're doing an employee retention, if you're doing a customer retention or a churn program or anything, you want to know the right number, right decision real time, and always a suggestion or something coming with artificial intelligence or machine learning, what you should be actioning or what you'll be doing to. It's not just presenting the humongous data to you and you analyze or you make a decision or several options or something. That's where the artificial intelligence will play the picture. It's all doing what you need to do, and maybe a more assisted or governed model to take a step if it's critical. If it's known, right model, right way, so probably it can execute on its own. So that's the future coming up in trends and technologies. One of the critical items in my mind to make sure the business tech savvy has to be, business and the tech savvy has to be together as a technocrat business savvy. It's not alone. So with these few words, this is a very close to my heart topic. I can speak a lot about it. So I've been doing for last 30 years business transformation projects across the globe, and that's what I've done for a living. And transformation is a really innovative and non-disruptive and can continue for long. And transformation is a journey. It's not start and stop. Transformation need to happen again and again. Once you've done it, you can't sleep and say, oh, we are done, we are a great company now. I think it's a continuous process. Keep that in mind. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable experiences and insights with us. May I now invite my colleague to felicitate Mr. Rupinder Goel with a memento as a token of our gratitude and appreciation.